This is Danny Flexen here for SecondsOut. Delighted to be joined by my old friend, Hall of Fame promoter Frank Warren. Frank, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, Dan. Yourself?
I'm very good, thanks. Stacked card on Saturday night. I know promoters say that all the time, but this one, from an independent source, genuinely is. Great main event. What can we expect from Heffron and Clark?
I think it's going to be a real tough fight. I think it's a little bit of a crossroad for both of them. You know, Lennox had that real good win, didn't he, against Willie Hutchinson, and then there's some problems with injuries, COVID, and all the things that have gone on. And Mark, again, when he had that really good fight when he banged his terrible eye injury. I think this is a bit of a crossroad fight for both of them, and they're both in tremendous shape, and both of them really do feel they got the beating of the other one. So I really genuinely think we're going to get a real good bust up between the two of them.
Now, would you consider pitting the winner of this fight at the weekend against Zach Parker, who obviously needs fights while he's waiting for his world title shot?
Look, that's something to consider. Let's see how it works out, how it pans out on Saturday. It depends, you know, how they look and whether their managers and trainers feel they're ready for that level. But you know, Zach Parker, was it over a year ago? People were saying he weren't ready for it, but he's done brilliantly. But that could be a potential matchup this year.
On the subject of matching some of your own fighters in-house, you've got two very exciting unbeaten featherweights on the bill in Dennis McCann and Nick Ball. I mean, the idea of that kind of clash of styles is pretty mouth-watering.
Oh, that's good. Down the road, that's going to be something really extraordinary. I'm really would be looking forward to that. You know, they talk about styles make fights, that would do. But they've got to come through this one first of all, and it's something that, if and when it happens, it's got to be sometime next year. You can build that into being, a main event once the two guys are more, got better known and got a bigger profile.
Now, on the subject of kind of finding opponents for fighters and so on, do you feel it's got any more difficult since there's now 3 major TV broadcasters in the UK rather than 2?
Yeah, the matchmakers have been struggling a bit, and after COVID, a lot of fighters who rely obviously on boxing for their, for their living, and the limited amount of shows that were going on. There was only a few shows going on with people who had TV platforms. All the small halls were all ending, so a lot of fighters, or there were, fighters that gave up and got jobs and went elsewhere. But I think it's all coming back into the swing game. But it is tough. There's no doubt about it. It is tough. But then it's competitive, and it makes it good for everybody. It's certainly good for the opponents because they're in a position where they're getting more money than they were getting before.
How easy is it at the moment to work with the other promoters to make some of the bigger fights? Is it because it's always been you and Matchroom for the last few years, but now there's Sky and Boxer as well? Has it made it harder?
Not really, because we didn't make any fights in Matchroom, did we?
So it couldn't get much harder.
It couldn't get much harder now. No, we didn't make anything unless they were forced by the Board of Control. I tried to make some fights, but we didn't even get to getting together for a meeting to discuss it. But look, we all moved on from there. My objective is just to keep my guys busy, and if we can get an opportunity to fight somebody else has got another promoter or a TV company's got a fighter, and we feel it's in our fighters' interest, and if they had to go and fight on their show to get it done, I would consider that.
A lot of fans have been saying
We have done that in the past. It's not that we haven't done that.
A lot of fans have been saying with the 3 major TV promoters now, it might cause, or in some cases already has caused, a bit of a dilution in quality of the shows. Because, what do you think?
Well, look at that.
Yeah, but that's just your show this weekend, but just on an overall level.
Well, I don't know. I say a dilution. I mean, I don't know. Look, it's like a football team. You get some really good matches and you get some bum matches. Boxing's no different. Sometimes the main events are brilliant, and now and again you'll get one which is not so good and hasn't worked out how you expect it to. That happens, but invariably I think ours is of a good quality. I'm really pleased with what we put together and the way we've built our fighters over the lots, for quite a while now, and it's culminating with all these youngsters who are fighting on this show, that they've got a good platform and they're going to get great exposure, and some of these are going to be the stars of tomorrow. There's no doubt about it, and they're getting to that stage. Some of them are like, they're hitting sort of 10-0s, 14-0s, 15-0s. So they're going to be next year in really good positions, and some of these fellas are going to like top in bills in their own right in exciting fights. So do I think that I think invariably, what we put together, I think is a really good quality and good standard.
Now, there's been a bit of buzz across social media. I know you're not a big social media fan over the last few days about a potential fight between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. I guess, first of all, if you were in a position where you had relations with those two fighters, is this a fight you would consider making?
Obviously, it's all about I mean it with the greatest respect to the fight, it's about their dads. And was it the 29th anniversary when their dads fought, or whatever it is, so they're going to make a play on that. Coming up 2 weights is a bit of a call, Conor, but if he feels he can do it and his trainer's happy, and coming down to 156 is, can he do that? I don't know whether he can do that. That's a big call. Who knows? But listen, if they want to do it and they're getting paid, as long as it's it's safe and the border control are happy with it, they get on with it and do it.
Would you make it? Could you see the commercial potential?
I see the commercial potential of it. I wouldn't have thought about making it. No, I wouldn't, to be quite honest. No, because of the weight disparity, I would not have done that. I don't know whether he can come down to 156. That's tight. He's 32 years, 33 years of age now. I mean, when you talk about their dads, Chris Eubanks had retired by then. He had, 15, 20, I don't know what it is, world title fights, and he's retired by then. So is it safe? Only his trainer knows that, whether that's safe for him to do or not.
Who would your money be on if we assume that both fighters can make the contracted weight safely and relatively strongly?
I don't know, really. I mean, I think the weight is going to have a lot to do with it. I don't think Chris Eubanks Jr. is a big puncher at a higher weight. Maybe if he's not weight trained, maybe his punching power will see him through. Conor's done well up to as yet. He's not fought anybody of what you'd call elite level yet. I mean, that's not having to go at him. That's a fact of life. If he beats Chris Eubanks, I think that's a big feather in his cap. I think if Eubanks Jr. beats him, then I think people will say, well, so what? This kid's come up a weight, and you're 32 years of age, and you should be fighting guys who've got better resumes than him.
So who's your money on?
I don't know, really. I've got to go. I've got to go with a heavier guy. I would have to go with the heavier guy.
That's fair enough. We know that Tommy Fury was unable to fight Jake Paul, as it turned out. He's now brought in Hasim Ruckman Jr., former sparring partner, as replacement opponent. What do you make of that as a substitute fight, if you like? Doesn't seem to be creating the same amount of buzz. Well,
it won't create the same amount of buzz, because obviously everybody, including myself, were really looking forward to seeing Jake Paul actually fight a boxer. But Jake's got a business to run, and it was unfortunate what happened with the Esther issue. It couldn't be got in time, so you can't blame him for to make another fight, and he's determined to do that. I think was it August the 6th they're fighting on, and I think under the circumstances he's done really well to make the fight he's made. I mean, you're always going to get criticism, but it's not down to him. It's down to the fact that, and all this nonsense about Tommy didn't want the fight is a nonsense. I mean, he went to the airport with his whole team. It didn't go there not to be told you can't fly. So it's a shame. It's a shame, and I'd love to have seen it get on, but it is what it is.
What is the latest with Tommy? Has he managed to sort out those Esther problems that he was having?
He's got to go to it's got to be sorted out with an appointment at the embassy. I don't know whether they've done that or not. I'm not sure what's happened with that, to be quite honest.
Were you kind of disappointed in him or the team, or just generally in the situation that this happened?
Disappointed that they refused to let him fly. He's done nothing wrong, nothing whatsoever wrong. Why? And to have a problem with Esther, he'd only just come back from the States. Was it 4 or 5 weeks previously? And I'll make it very clear. As far as he's concerned, every fight he's had is bar one, which was promoted by Jake. Every other fight he's had has been promoted by me. So I've paid him. No one else has paid him. He's been guided by us, and that's the end of it. So for anyone to try and make some inference and so forth is totally wrong, and I don't see why he should have been put in that position. I think it's very unfair on him.
Have the authorities given you any sort of indication of the specifics of why they refused him the Esther?
No, I haven't. No, so it is what it is.
Daniel Dubois, Joyce. bubbling at that top level of the heavyweight division. When can we expect to see them next out, and who have you got in mind as potential opponents?
I'm looking to get Joe out on the 24th of September, and I'm looking to get Daniel out in October.
Who against, potentially?
Well, once we've made the fights, I'll tell you. I mean, we're working on a couple of things at the moment with both of them. I need to get Joe sorted out, and we are talking to a couple of opponents at the moment, but I need to get that resolved. I was hoping to get it resolved, as always, so I'm always hoping to get it resolved. I was hoping we'd be making some sort of announcement on Saturday at the show. If we do get it over the line, I will. If not, we'll be making an announcement, I hope, early next week. With
Joseph Parker signing with Boxer, is that fight now dead in the water?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, it can't be made. It's just ridiculous. It is, but it is what it is, and it's been talked to death, the situation. And you know, they've obviously got plans for Joe Parker on Sky. Let them get on with it.
We've also seen Hughie Fury against Michael Hunter since then either being cancelled or postponed. Does that bring Michael Hunter, who I believe is not contracted to Boxer, does that bring him into the frame for either Dubois or Joe?
No, have they cancelled the fight?
I think they officially postponed it, but there's been no new date yet.
I've got no idea. I mean, if they got a contract, you can't even talk to people or interfere with it. Otherwise, you'd be, in trouble.
But if he hasn't got a contract, is Hunter an opponent you'd be interested in for either of your guys?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Good stuff, Frank. Really appreciate it, and best luck Saturday night.
Cheers, mate.